Welcome to Life Lessons. I am Auntie Betty, and with me today on set, I have Tolulope Oniru-Demuren. Those powerful names. And she's going to be sharing life lessons with us on some of the episodes of her life, which we feel will benefit some of our audiences. Tolu, welcome to Life Lessons.
Thank
and congratulations, you're now the programs director, group programs director, the
Yes, yes. So
wow.
It's a big job.
Yes.
It's a big job, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's ahead.
Okay, great,
Yeah,
great.
so I'm always excited when I get a new challenge.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
We keep talking about each for equal generation, equality. So we want some of these, we want these key positions as well.
To be filled by women. So like I said, I'm very excited. I've been with BFM for it's over 10 years now. So I think I'm quite ready for a new challenge, and that's kind of what I have.
So you're not that young green behind the
no. I've learned a few things, and hopefully I do. By God's grace, I'll do something amazing.
Of course, well done. We're proud of you. For every woman who rises, we're all rising together. So it's good to see you. And I'm even happier because the circumstances are different. I remember when we sat down, about 18 months, 2 years ago.
Yes, it was in, was it 2008? Was it 2017 or 2018?
Already? Yeah, when we sat down.
Yeah, it was, I think was it 2017? It was 2018.
Okay.
It was 2018.
What happened then? Why do you remember the date?
Because I remember that was when I launched my lingerie brand, and then that was also the year that I had my son. Okay.
You had your son in 2018. But before then, we sat down under a very different circumstance. It wasn't a very happy.
It wasn't. We sat down and talked about my loss just before I got pregnant.
And that one was a surprise for me, because the next thing I just heard that you've had your baby. So let's go back a bit to that evening, because when we put you on the cover of Genevieve, before the hard copy came out, we had the soft copy, and our website crashed twice.
I know. I was
and it had never happened, because we had Toolz on the cover talking about, I can't remember exactly what the headline was, but it was something to do with surviving a period of your life that wasn't so great. Yeah. So when you look back at that period, you got pregnant, and then you lost. You lost the baby. That was really painful. It was. Wasn't it?
It was. I feel that. I feel that for a lot of women, especially when it's your first pregnancy, that never ever crosses your mind. So it was so interesting because I got pregnant. We weren't even expecting it, and I got pregnant actually quite quickly. I got pregnant the same year that I got married, like a few months afterwards. And I was just like, oh my goodness, because I planned to actually wait a year. So the plan was to give it a year before we start having babies. And it didn't work out that way. So I was just like, I'm not ready. Oh my gosh. And, then I was like, no, I want a boy. No, I want a girl. And I was just thinking about those things. And I never, ever once thought that the health of my child would be an issue. Because you never do. You just think that, everything will go, fantastically well. And I remember there was a hospital that I went to here. And I should name them, but there were a few things that they missed. There are a few things that they missed, and I just felt there were a few things that happened. I'm just like, is this supposed to happen? So I was getting quite far along, and when it's your first pregnancy, you read a lot of books, you read a lot of articles, and I'm like, okay, so they said that this is supposed to happen. And it hadn't happened. So one of the first, like when you start feeling movement, it's called, what is it, quickening. It just feels like fluttering. And I never felt that. And I was just like, okay, maybe later. And I just never felt it. So I'd asked the doctor, and he was, like, oh, why are you worrying about that? Don't worry. And I'm like, but why shouldn't I be feeling that? Anyways, it was when I went to the UK for a checkup. And it was during a scan. And the woman kept asking me.
Did you have a scan here?
I did. They said everything was fine. They said everything was okay. And I just was like, is baby moving? And they're like, oh, baby's fine. And then I actually had like fibroid issues as well.
Okay.
So there was something the doctors told me that I just was like, I'm not sure. So I was quite concerned about the fibroid. And I'd read about it in a few women. Loads of women actually, get pregnant, have fibroids, and either the fibroid dies off because the baby is taking all the blood supply, or maybe they end up competing for the blood supply. So I kind of said to him, is this going to be an issue? He said, no, it's not going to be an issue. But then when I was asking him about the movement of the baby, he said something along the lines of, why are you complaining?
Oh,
like, there's a fibroid in there. The baby's doing the best it can. And I just said, but the baby doesn't know there's a fibroid there. The baby's supposed to do what the baby's
supposed to do. Yes.
Yeah. So that really worried me. So when I did go for a checkup, they did sort of say that things weren't going so well. The baby wasn't the right size. And
how far gone were you then?
I was almost 6 months.
Of course, there should have been some movements.
There should have been
some kicking.
There should have been a few things.
Yes.
And I just remember thinking, I remember I almost had like an out of body experience, because I remember I felt like I was watching myself, and the doctor's telling me this, and I'm just like, what? And I was just in shock, because I just, like, even when the scan was going on, I was looking at the doctor's face, and her face kind of changed, and she asked me like 3 times, how far along are you? And I told her. She's like, okay, how far along are you? And I told her, and I was like, why are you asking me this? So she actually stopped that scan. She stopped the scan, and then she had me come in the next day, and I had to go to a different department. So I was there, and then the doctor, she actually became somebody that I respected, but at that point, the way she broke it to me, I was like, oh my gosh.
How did she break it to you?
She just kind of said, yeah, things aren't going so well. And I'm like, okay, so what kind of medication do I need to take?
Okay,
what do I need to do?
let's fix it.
And she's like, oh no, I don't think your baby's going to survive another week. And I literally was like,
you're kidding me.
Yeah. So, but she was very, very matter of fact, as in, look, let me just, it was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking. So, I kind of like, I was shaking. I was so upset. So I, got back home, and I cried and I cried, and I was so upset.
Where was your husband?
He was with me. He was
okay,
with me. So he
okay.
was with me, and he was very upset as well, and we just didn't know what to do. And then she said, well, we're just gonna sort of let nature take its course and just see what happened. And I had to go for scans like every week. So I was just going for scans. They were just checking, and there were all sorts of things, like the baby wasn't getting any bigger, and I was like, what can we take the baby?
They were still hoping that some miracle will happen?
Yeah, I was hoping that a miracle would happen. And so the baby wasn't getting any bigger. So this, I was lucky enough that the doctor that I was seeing, she was actually the professor of, the fetal medicine unit. So she was quite high up,
okay.
And she was very skilled in, taking babies out early. But then she was like, your baby's too small. So I was just like, there's something you can do. And then she's like, well, they're working on some drugs now, but they haven't like been approved. And, and I'm like, no, there's something you can do. So we were just stuck in this like sort of limbo. And it was very strange, because I had a sort of moment of spiritual awakening. And I remember when, she was breaking the news saying, yeah, this isn't looking good. I just remember hearing a voice saying, this isn't going to work out, but you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah. And, and so for there were some parts that I was very calm. I was very calm, because inside I wanted to just like run out of the hospital screaming, like pulling my hair and everything. But then I was just like, you know what? What is it? Who's this voice? What is this voice saying to me? So we were back and forth. I think that went on for about a month, and then so baby was a fighter. Baby was, because she said a week.
Still the heartbeat.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So we kept going till there wasn't a heartbeat, and that was horrible. The day that I did the scan, and they were just like, "There's nothing," and obviously you've had children, so. When they do the scan and you see the legs, you see the movement, and you see the movement, and when they did that last scan, there was nothing, like no movement,
it's stillness.
Nothing. And I still, like, when I think about it, it still gives me like goosebumps, because it just felt like there was just like no movement, nothing.
You don't wait for life. You go to meet life. It's not about how many chances you get. It's what you do with what you've got. CUP, after cup. Morning after morning. Start strong, finish strong. It all starts with a Nescafe.
When they did that last scan, there was nothing, like no movement,
It's stillness.
nothing. And I still, like, when I think about it, it still gives me, like, you know, goosebumps, because it just felt like, you know, there was just like no movement, nothing. And then I said, just started shaking. And then the next thing they're like, okay, well, we need to get the baby out. And I'm just like, okay. And then they kind of did say, we're going to give you some, you know, medication, and then you're going to have to push. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I was like, no, I can't do that. And they said, well, that's the safest thing for you to do, because if you do, you can actually go into surgery, but there's a, you know, chance that you might get injured or something. So it's the best thing to do.
Oh, such trauma.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So so that happened, I think,
So
on
they
a
triggered
Thursday or
labor.
Friday. Yeah.
Induced labor, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was Saturday. I think I took the medication on, was it Thursday or Friday? So they were expecting me on Sunday. So Saturday morning, I decided to make some breakfast for my husband. So I was making some eggs, and then I had a pain, and I'm just like, ow. And then actually, even before I, you know, got up, I was having sort of, it didn't even occur to me, because I'm like, okay, Sunday, I'm going to have to go in. That Saturday was my niece's birthday. So she was having a little party. So I was like, okay, we'll have something to eat, and we'll go to the party, you know, and because I was trying to just keep a little bit on the normal, on the normal side, even though I was like heartbroken. So I was having these pains, and I just thought, well, this is kind of part of it. And I'm making breakfast, and like as I was just about to put the eggs in the frying pan, the pain just hit, and I just thought, oh, I'm having a bad tummy ache. I went to the bathroom.
It didn't occur to you?
It didn't, because they said Sunday. They kept on saying Sunday. So I thought, I mean, I'd never gone through this before, so I thought this was part of it. And so I just remember then I felt the need to go to the bathroom. So I'm just there, and then it went from, like, the pain level went from 2 to 12. And I remember screaming for my husband, like, come here now. I was just screaming and screaming. And I was in so much pain. Then that's when I realized that, oh my gosh, I'm in labor. So, and I was really upset because I hadn't showered. I was looking like a crazy person. And because I just wanted to kind of, you know, still be a little bit normal. I know it sounds very strange, but I just wanted to, like, not look like what I was going through.
Yes.
You know, so unfortunately I didn't get the chance to. I just managed to pull on something. I wore, like, flip-flops, like rubber bathroom slippers that I wear around the house. Yeah. That's what I wore. So I was in labor for about 6 or 7 hours.
And
then, so that happened, and I was on a lot of medication as well. So I think that really sort of helped me. And I had some family around, but it was very, very traumatic. I try not to think about it too much, but I think one of the worst moments after that was this happened in the UK. So they had to do, like, an autopsy. I had to arrange a funeral.
Yourself.
Yeah. So that you as a parent, you're the one that kind of has to just, okay, what do you want to do? And that must have horrible.
Been very, very traumatic for you.
It was the whole process. A lot of people don't know that whole time I was just like, yeah, God, I'm done. I'm like, come and take me, I'm done. Because that happened on Saturday, and then next Friday, because I did have a fibroid, next Friday, there's something called the redegeneration. So you get to a point when a fibroid gets really big, it gets to a point that the blood supply isn't enough, and then it starts sort of dying. And then that causes so much pain, and there's lots of bleeding.
From one plane to the other.
So I went from going into labor, having a baby on Saturday, and then Friday I needed to be rushed to hospital. I ambulance everything because
for the fibroid surgery.
Yeah, because I woke up one day, I slept on the couch, and I tried to get up, and I couldn't get up. The pain, it felt like somebody had stabbed me. So I tried to get up, and I thought, okay, you know what? Well, there's a lot that's happened in the last sort of week. Let me just wait a few minutes. So I waited, and I tried to get up again, and it was just horrible. So I had to call for my sister, because I was with my sister, and I just said, I can't get up. And she's like, okay, let's try. So I just thought, well, maybe if I just get up, the pain will go. And I just couldn't, and I was screaming. So she called for the ambulance, and then them getting me on the chair thing, it was excruciating pain. So I get there was like lots of bleeding and get to the hospital, and then they just said, okay, this is what's happening. And I'm just like, take it out, take it out. They're like, we can't take it out. Like right now we can't.
Why?
Well, because it had to be 6 weeks, because I just obviously had delivered a baby, you know, the week before. So nobody would touch me. So all they could really do was like pain management. So I was in hospital for about 4 days, 4 days on morphine. And that's when I was just like, God, you don't love me. I'm like, just take me, like, seriously, I'm done. And I remember telling my husband that I'm done, because I was in.
But he wasn't quite done with you, because
he was just like, don't say that, you can't say that. What do you mean? What am I going to do without you? And I was just like, you don't understand. I'm in physical pain. I was in more pain the second time than when I went through labor.
But yes, you had one pain that hadn't healed, and then you went into the other.
It was horrible.
But life is beautiful. God is amazing.
Yes.
Because you're sitting here now, and that memory seems like in another life.
It does.
It does. A different time.
It absolutely does.
Because you're sitting here now, you're chairman's mom.
Yeah.
But before we talk about this, your baby, having your baby, I want to talk about some of when you found yourself now playing the role of an advocate to a lot of women who read your story and felt they could connect. Because most times people just think celebrities have the perfect life. Especially now with social media, everything is beautiful, everything, look at me, my life is perfect, I'm having the time of my life. Nothing wrong with that. But I find that people relate to deep stories like yours. Tell me about how you began to play that role to other women who reached out to you, having read your story.
I always say that if you're looking at somebody on social media and if you're thinking their life is perfect, then you're a little bit daft. Because no, it's true, because everybody, if I'm having an ugly day, I'm not going to take a picture and post it.
Of course.
But the day that my makeup is looking fire, everything, that's what I'll post. So you need to realize that, you know, at the end of the day, people, celebrities, people in the public eye, they're still people. They have bad days, they have good days. They are not above losing someone. They're not above like losing a child. They're not above losing a parent. You know, so it does happen. So don't end up getting caught up in this whole, they look perfect, so their lives must be perfect.
So some of the women who reached out to you, what exactly were the issues they faced? They had gone through what you went through?
Oh my gosh, I got actually before I talk about that, I did, like, I really feel that I went through like some kind of spiritual awakening. And it was, I think, because this was our first, you know, pregnancy, I was very excited. And once we passed the 3-month mark, because obviously once you pass there's a good chance the pregnancy will be successful. So that's when I was just like, I'm pregnant, everybody.
You announced it.
I did. So I ended up regretting that, not because I felt that somebody jinxed, some auntie in the village ate my baby. Not because of that. It's just because I went through a very, very, very difficult thing, and I went through it publicly. Because when you lose a baby, and you lose a baby so late, you go through so many different, you know, emotions. You go through, there was one time I was so ashamed. I didn't want anybody to see me. I was so ashamed, because I was like, what, you know, one of the main things I'm supposed to do as a woman, I didn't do it. I failed. And then I was like, maybe if I did this, maybe if I started taking my vitamins early. So I felt like I just failed, and I just felt this sense of shame.
Failed
the baby, failed the child, really. So I just felt this sense of shame. So I had to, when I started, like, you know, getting deeper in my journey, I realized that this happened for a reason. If I hadn't announced that I was pregnant, nobody would have known I lost that baby. I wouldn't have told anybody. Other than my close friends, nobody would have known.
I had invited the boss for lunch. Okay. Then I get called to handle some emergency. Then my plan B, the caterer, gets hopelessly stuck somewhere.
In front of me. What?
Then I call hubby, and he says,
What are we going to do?
Relax, we got this.
No, we don't.
Now it's up to me and him to save the day.
You okay?
with help from something special. The new Ninja pot seasoning from Maggi. Specially made from natural stockfish, smoked fish, crayfish, and other ingredients to give your soups and pottages that Nigerian bottom pot taste.
You need to tell me how you got that bottom pot taste.
And then later she says,
Come see me Monday morning. Let's talk about the new branch we're opening.
just then my plan B shows up. And just when I thought the drama was over.
My sister, let's go to do this.
Delicious bottom pot, yeah.
But people knew because 1 minute you were pregnant.
Yes.
And the next minute you were not
Yes.
pregnant. And a lot of people didn't know how to ask you to reach out to you.
A lot of people didn't know, but then I feel that a lot of people I feel that a lot of people also were, looking for gossip and everything. But I mean, that's
to be expected.
That's what happens. But so it took me a while because I know we had this conversation. I remember speaking to you and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I'm like, I don't want to do it. And I think that went back.
I know. You felt very vulnerable when we asked you to do the interview. First, you had to ask your husband.
Yeah.
Then you had to be ready.
Yeah. And I wasn't ready for a while.
Yes.
And I just, and then I thought, okay, maybe I should give it like a year. Maybe I should do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then something just said, do it. Because I remember when I was going through, this is before, we actually lost the baby, when things weren't going so well, when the baby was sick. I remember I used to spend hours online. I wanted to see somebody that had a similar story. I wanted to know what happened. I wanted to know, did the baby make it? Okay, if they lost the baby, how long before they had another baby? So I would I would be on my phone till the battery died.
Looking for
somebody's
story.
Yeah, because
to learn from. Learn something.
And it's because then a lot of the women around me would come and say, actually, when it happened to me, I'm like, but you never talk about it. Like, why don't we talk about it? Because it's not something that is 9 times out of 10, unless you're doing something crazy like drinking or taking drugs, when you lose baby, it's not your fault. It's maybe something wasn't going well and your body's just like, okay, we're stopping this process.
Yeah, people have different emotions when those things come to play, and they're not really sure if they want to share or not, which was why we're very happy that you had the courage to share your story. And again, as we said, our website couldn't take the traffic.
It was scary. I remember when, like, a day before it was going to come out, I was just like, oh my God, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? But I feel that in the end I did, because till today I still get messages.
Well done.
And what is really also interesting is I get messages from husbands as well, saying, okay, my wife is devastated, we just lost a child, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, and I remember she mentioned you, she read your story and everything, and sometimes I get people calling me and saying, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but somebody just lost, their baby. Do you mind giving them a call and speaking to them? And I kind of have to say, well, I'm not a medical expert, but
I said that,
but one of the first things I say is, okay, what happened? You need to find out what happened, because that's the most important thing. You need to find out if it's something that that was happening in your body, something that happened in the baby's body. So make sure you get the medical people to do a thorough investigation, and and make sure they're able to tell you what happened.
So what you do is just give them hope. Also, you have to know your own emotional capacity.
Yes.
Because if you haven't healed and you're playing this role, it can bring back memories. But we're sitting down here, and then we have a chairman.
Yeah.
Does he have a name?
He doesn't have a name. His name. Oh, he's got like a long list of names. Asha. We call him Asha Ashkash.
Yeah.
And his name is also Tolu, which is my name and also my husband's middle name.
Okay.
And Ayomide as well, because he brought us so much joy. But again, I'm just super, super grateful to God, because this happened in 2017, and within a few months I was expecting, and that wasn't, that was just God. It wasn't the crazy thing is we had talked about trying, but we had just talked about it. And then when I was like, okay, you know what, we need to, and then I just like sort of found out I was pregnant, and I'm like, okay,
God is still in the business of doing miracles.
Absolutely.
And we thank God that, you know, that you're sitting down here and we're just not talking about what happened to you, but we're talking about the past and we're talking about the present.
Yes, the good and the bad.
The good and the bad. And in everything there are lessons. So in all of this, what would you say is the biggest lesson you learned?
The biggest lesson that I learned, I learned quite a few actually. It can happen, like, good things happen to a good thing can happen to any person. Bad things can happen to any person as well. So one of the things that I learned when I was going through that, I kind of tried not to say why me. I just kind of said, why not me? I mean, it's horrible, but it does happen. It does happen. And I also learned that grieving, and you know, when you go through a difficult period, you need to deal with it in your own, like at your own pace. At your own pace, rather. At your own pace and on your own terms. Because I had people saying, why are you crying? Stop crying. And I'm like, no, if I want to cry, I'm going to cry. So that's something that I tell people when they call me, and I'm like, don't let anybody rush you through this. This is a genuine loss. This is an actual genuine loss. So you need to go through your process of healing. And I feel that because I let myself, like, when I felt there were times when I didn't get out of bed. I did not get out of bed. Like, the lights were off.
Tendencies.
So I was really, really sad. My husband would go to work, he'd come back, he'd find me in the bed in the same clothes, and he'd just be like, you okay? And then I just said, I'm gonna take it a day at a time, and I went from crying every day to crying a few times a week, you know, to maybe
to not crying.
And I remember the first week that I was like, I didn't cry this week. I was like, oh my god,
celebrate every day that you didn't.
It was amazing because oh gosh, I cried a lot.
Before we wrap up, there was something you said earlier that when you now had your baby, you had less people interested in that story. Unlike when you lost the pregnancy, people were interested for the sake of gist.
Oh yes.
For the sake of gist. But when you had your baby, you didn't have as many people being curious or interested in that. Is that something that happens with celebrities a lot? Or just generally?
I never really consider myself a celebrity. But I feel that bad news, controversy sells. Bad news can sometimes, for a lot of people, be more interesting than good news. So yes, I had a lot of people when I did lose a baby. There was like a lot of talk, a lot of this. And then when I did have, you know, my son, there was a lot of talk, but it wasn't as much. But I feel that it's human nature, and I honestly try not to let those things bother me, because I was just focused on the fact that I have this little man that's mine.
At the end of the day, joy does come in the morning.
Absolutely. That's actually
joy comes.
One of the main lessons.
Thank you.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
So, Tolulope Oniru-Demuren, Toolz, has shared some of her life lessons with us, and there's so much to be learned from what she said. And at the end of the day, when we've gone through all the dark tunnel, when we've asked God, why me, we find that at the end of the day, it's not us alone who are in that place. And indeed, joy does come in the morning. So for everyone or anyone who is going through what Toolz has gone through, I would urge you to be patient with yourself, to be patient with the process. Do not rush the process. Take your time to heal and ask questions. Read a lot about what has happened to you, and then just give yourself time to live again. It's been Life Lessons with Betty Irabor. See you.